All right, let's talk about one of the absolute trickiest moments in any organization, the leadership handover. And look, we're going to forget the high-level theory for a bit. We're breaking this down into a practical, step-by-step plan you can actually use. So let's dive in.
This right here, this is where it all goes so wrong. This one idea captures the entire problem. I mean, we've all seen it, haven't we? That one leader who holds on to every single task, every little decision, right up until their very last day. And then, poof, they're gone.
You'd think a clean break would be a good thing, right? I mean, it seems so simple, but why is this almost always a complete and total disaster? Not just for the person taking over, but for the whole organization. Let's get into it.
Yeah, this all-or-nothing approach, it's not a transition. It's a cliff edge. It just sets up this perfect storm for failure. And honestly, it happens way, way too often.
I mean, just think about it for a second. There's absolutely no time for the new person to learn all the unwritten rules, or to build any real confidence in the role. And maybe most importantly, for the team to build trust in them. The old leader is gone, and the new one is just left to sink or swim. It's a classic recipe for burnout.
Okay, but here's the good news. It absolutely does not have to be this way. There's a much smarter and more sustainable way to handle this. And frankly, a more human way to do it, too.
And that answer is the phased handover. So instead of this sudden, jarring event, we treat it like a gradual process. The big idea here is super simple. You don't learn how to swim by reading a book about it, right? You've got to get in the water. And this method, well, it's the perfect way to do that safely. Okay, so how does this actually work in the real world? Well, it breaks down into 3 really clear, logical phases. And these phases guide both the mentor and the mentee through the whole thing.
It really is a simple progression. First, I do, you watch. Then it's we do it together. And finally, you do it and I support you. See how that works? It's a journey that takes the mentee from just being an observer all the way to being an owner one step at a time. Let's break down each phase. So phase 1 is all about shadowing. Now, for the mentor, your most important job here isn't just doing the work, it's talking about it while you do it. You have to explain the why behind every single action. That's how you pass on all that crucial unwritten knowledge. And for the mentee, your job is simple. Be a detective. Ask questions about everything. Just keep asking why.
All right, on to phase 2, co-working. This is where the roles start to flip. The mentee actually takes the keyboard, and the mentor, well, you become the co-pilot. Now, the biggest challenge for the mentor here is to resist that urge to just grab the mouse and fix it. You got to let them drive. And for the mentee, this is your golden opportunity to get that hands-on experience in a totally safe space.
And that brings us to the final phase, owning. This is the moment where the mentor really has to step back. You're not a micromanager anymore. You're more like a consultant, a safety net. And for the mentee, this is it. This is where you build true ownership by running with the task, solving problems yourself, and really learning to fly on your own.
Okay, so these 3 phases are the roadmap, but for any of this to actually work, it has to be built on a really solid foundation. And that foundation, it's all about the art of smart, clear delegation.
The absolute key here is you have to start small. I mean, look at this. The goal of the very first task you hand over is not efficiency. It's all about building confidence. So you start with something manageable, right? Like taking meeting notes or updating a Trello board. You don't start with managing the entire budget. That comes way later.
And to make sure that delegation is crystal clear, you can use a simple tool like this. Think of it as the perfect task card. It has just 4 essential parts: a clear, actionable title, a single owner, no confusion there, a clear deadline, and probably the most important part, a definition of done. That way everyone knows exactly what success looks like. 0 ambiguity.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds great on paper, but we all know the real world is messy, right? So let's talk about the really common traps you're going to fall into and, how to get out of them.
Here it is. The #1 trap for basically every mentor, manager, and leader on the planet. And let's just be honest with ourselves. In the short term, it's 100% true. It is faster to just do it yourself. But that thinking is absolutely fatal in the long run.
So the fix here requires a pretty fundamental shift in your mindset. Your goal is no longer about getting this one single task done perfectly. Your new goal is to build a capable, sustainable team. And that means you have to be willing to accept something that's maybe 90% good enough if it means your mentee is learning and your whole organization is getting stronger. Okay, now let's flip it. For the mentee, the biggest barrier is usually internal. It's that paralyzing fear of making a mistake. And that fear, it can totally stop them from taking any initiative, which of course defeats the whole purpose of this thing.
The fix here really falls on the mentor. Your job is to create psychological safety. So when a mistake inevitably happens, and it will, your response can't be panic. It's got to be something like, oh, great catch. You know what? That's a classic rookie mistake. I made that one too. Here's how we fix it. You have to reframe failure. It's not a disaster. It's just the price you pay for learning. And this last trap is a big one, and it kind of brings us full circle, right back to where we started. It's the mistake of trying to hand over an entire job, like the treasurer, all at once. It's just too big, it's too abstract, and frankly, it's terrifying for the person taking it on.
And the fix is so simple. You just break it down. Don't hand over the budget. Hand over one tiny, concrete piece of it, like entering receipts into the spreadsheet. Once they've completely mastered that, then you can move on to the next piece, and then the next.
Because at the end of the day, that's the secret to this whole thing. It's the philosophy behind any successful handover and really any successful organization. Small, concrete steps, they always win.
So that leaves us with just one final question for you to think about. Whether you see yourself as a mentor or a mentee, looking at this whole framework, what is one small, concrete task that you could start this handover process with today?